So we are going to start our panel discussion on music matters, and we have first of all a commendable effort by the Beacon House World of Tomorrow team for putting this together. I think it's a commendable effort for bringing ideas under one roof. Who knows what might inspire somebody from one of you that might materialize into something big later on. So on our panel today, firstly to introduce myself, I'm Zohaib Qazi. I'm a music producer, science fiction graphic novelist, and a videographer. My longest association has been with Coke Studio, where I was the general manager and associate producer for around 7 years. I recently excused myself to pursue ideas of my own. To introduce our panel, we're going to start off with Mr. Yusuf Kirai. Mr. Yusuf Kirai is a mathematician and a regular faculty at Habib University. He also is the founding member of the Tarz classical ensemble. It's an ensemble which has these classically trained musicians who are on a mission to inspire the younger lot. So, Mr. Yusuf, some applause would be nice. Next we have is Miss Ayla Raza. Miss Ayla Raza is no new name in the music fraternity. She's the founding member of All Pakistan Music Conference, another very commendable campaign that's been going on for the longest time. She is also under the tutelage of Mr. Nasiruddin Sami, and she is very well aware of the khayal genre of classical music. Miss Ayla Raza. Next is Mr. Ivan Ivancevic. He is the ambassador of Argentina to Pakistan. And lastly, who doesn't know Miss Tina Sani? Miss Tina Sani is a national treasure. She is also a ghazal maestro. So a round of applause for Miss Tina Sani. So some ground rules. I think we're going to keep our answers concise to 3 to maximum 5 minutes. And lastly, everybody has to sing in the end. So I would like you all to, just give me an opening statement as to why does music matter?
Music matters to me. It comes naturally to me. I can't say it for everyone, but then that's another discussion.
Okay. Yusuf.
Well, I think it matters a lot because it cannot be seen, cannot be touched, yet it impacts people in ways that are immeasurable. So I think that if there's anything that matters the most, I think it's music.
Ayla ji.
I guess it matters because it talks about much larger than it's the whole is well, the components are much larger than the whole in this case. It's and it opens up lots of new ideas, perspectives. It opens up yourselves, from inside out. It opens up a lot for you. So that's why I think it matters.
To me, music matters because it is a community experience, as few other arts are. and it is a community experience because it draws on the roots of the community and brings the community good together to celebrate it through singing and playing of instruments. And because of that, music has the ability to bring forth one of the facets, a very important one, of the identity of a community. But not only that, because as my friend here said, it is intangible. It can communicate with other traditional cultures, with other communities, in a way in which, for instance, literature through translation cannot. Therefore, it is an incredible tool for bringing people who are completely different together.
So Tina ji, backstage we were talking about some myth breaking. Can you break a few myths about music?
No, we were just having a very casual conversation, and generally when I speak to people, because I myself come from an absolute, I don't have any music lineage or a family. I just loved music, and I would often hear, and I was about 20 when I started learning music, and I would often hear people say at that time that you have to be 6 years old or 8 years old, and it can't be learnt, or you can't sing classical unless you belong to a gharana. I grew up with a lot of myths, not believing them as much as they became my challenge, because I knew that if you really passionately want to do something, you can. I mean, otherwise nobody would be able to learn physics or maths or anything for that reason, because they're maestros. So I think one of the myths is that people think you have to be belonging to a certain discipline. I think that the only thing that you require is passion and the love to do music. I truly believe that you're kind of wired for music as a doer, not as a listener. But I think there's some wiring, which it could be the ear, it could be the way that you coordinate. One of the myths was that, and then I started in 1980. Today I hear people say that music was banned in the 80s during Ziaul-Haq's time. Not true. Another thing that was very interesting was at that time people thought it would be banned. So a lot of musicians, and especially classical musicians, who, as it is, we had very few at the time, got scared and did not teach their children. If you find that loss and absence of traditional classical musicians, one of the reasons is that through the fear-mongering that happened, and I did all my Faiz work during the time that Faiz was banned in the country. But we were still performing him on government stages like Alhambra. Nobody bothered us, nobody said anything. Yes, Faiz's poetry was banned on television and radio, but that was the government and Faiz. But we were not harassed. And we continued to do Baharai and Bol Ke Lab Azad. All these songs were recorded and were kept till such time that they could be played on. So we continued to work even if things were not acceptable at that time to the government. It did not matter to us because we believed that this stuff needs to be done. And you can't tailor your passions. So I tell a lot of young people, don't worry whether there's a market for this or market for that. If you truly, truly believe in a certain kind of style of art that you want to do, just go ahead and do it. So there are lots of myths, that we'll talk about later.
I actually specifically want to ask, because when I wanted to learn classical music,
You were probably told you can't
I was
because you
told
don't
that
have.
it's very complex and
Oh,
it's
no,
very
no, no, no.
complicated.
You see, it's just like when you have a very special skill and there is not enough, there is this lack-based, not enough work to go around. So obviously, I'm going to say, if I'm going to teach you, then you're going to take away some of my work. So I'm not going to give you my art. So it's difficult and you can't learn it. Yes, it requires discipline like all the other disciplines. I mean, how do you learn physics? I tell kids, come on, you know, you go to universities and you're learning such complex disciplines like physics and whatever. I mean, you guys, chemistry,
Mathematics.
algebra. So maths is, music is so connected to all those disciplines. It's so logical. There is nothing mystical about it. People think कि ये कहीं से उतरता है, ये कहीं से नहीं उतरता है. It's very it's very methodical. Yes, the knowledge can be transferred to you overnight. एक राग में 6 सुर हैं, ये लगते हैं भैरवी में, सब ये हैं. Generally आप सीख सकते हैं. सिर्फ जहाँ जिसको आप मिस्टिसिज्म कहते हैं कि ये पता नहीं कहीं और से उतरता है, वो बेसिकली दैट इज़ योर incredible familiarity. It's almost like you map your mind with a certain knowledge. Rachmaninoff पियानो बजाते थे और वो इतना तेज़ पियानो बजाते थे कि उनसे किसी journalist से पूछा कि how do you play so fast? You know, what's your practice? He says, I start and I practice very slowly, one note at a time. And then once I've got once it's mapped in my head, then I shoot it like a machine gun. So it is, music is a matter of practice. इसको रियाज कहते हैं, जिसको maths को भी रियाज कहते हैं. So it's yeah.
Yeah. So, Yusuf, I want to ask you that in relation to this, to what she just highlighted, and in relation to what Mr. Ivan just highlighted, music is an intangible entity. Can we somehow make it not as complex as it's been made to sound?
So I think like any other subject or discipline, there are various stages of learning it, and mathematics is also extremely and severely complex. In fact, a lot of people flaunt the fact that they just can't do math, and it's okay to say that. So that's a general culture. So, but still mathematics is taught as part of the curriculum to everyone, regardless of the difficulty that it has attained over the years. But it is taught, so there are different stages. And I think music is an extremely important and powerful tool in education. So I think music, first of all, needs to be taught in schools, yes. Regardless of the kind of music, I think it's very important that students, that children have exposure to different kinds of music, experience with music, and that could mean playing with instruments, it could be playing with their voices, it could be playing clapping games, it could be saying syllables of tabla, it could be all sorts of stuff. All of that lends itself to learning the culture of music, and also it helps in the other disciplines that are the compulsory subjects. So for example, as a little example, I think in the mathematics classroom, music can be so relevant, so important. At the earliest stages, we all teach fractions, and we always use visual aids to help us learn about fractions and partitions. What about auditory aids? You have a beat cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. Now that's thirds of each beat. So that's 1/3 fractions, which can be communicated through syllables at first. Dha, 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 tin, na, dha, 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 tin, na. Then you can have sevens. Dagana dagdina, dagana dagdina, dagana dagdina, dagana dagdina, dagana dagdina. So then you have sevens, and you have breaking a beat into sevens, breaking a beat into thirds. Suddenly, for those students that we call failures in math at early stages, possibly the musical medium will connect to them in their understanding of a certain idea. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that I'd like to just mention here is that our own music, South Asian music, because I include parts of Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, all of it. South Asian music has a lot to offer in this context, and a lot of it can be taught through local contexts as well. So, for example, you have rhythms of various provinces, and so we always have cultural fairs in schools, and we always have days where culture is celebrated, but it's very seldom understood in terms of its complexities. So, for example, the rhythms of Sindh, called Kilwara, dhag da dhinag da dhinag da dhinag da din dhag da dhinag da dhinag da, as opposed to the rhythms of Punjab, dhitta tana titta dhana, dhitta tana titta dhana, dhitta tana. Now they both have a different quality, probably qualities that were parts of those languages. Din din kattak, din din kattak, din din Balochistan. Suddenly you're all automatically transported there. So music has a lot of relevance, and it can be applied in various ways. And it doesn't have to be separate music lessons if you don't want to do that. But it can still be used to teach mathematics. It can be used to teach science later on. When they're talking about sound and frequencies, they can study and measure frequencies. They can see that the 12-tone scale is an exponential scale. They teach exponential functions in school. Why not teach them that the keys of the piano are moving up by a ratio that is an irrational number? Which then means that when we talk about perfect pitch and all those things, there's actually no such thing. Because the frequencies of the 12 tones are actually just the best approximations that our instruments of technology can produce. So maybe when we say Sacha Sur, we're really talking about that person that comes so close to that frequencies, nth decimal places, that that's what we feel is really, really coming closer to, to godliness, Sur Ishwar hai, and all those kinds of concepts. So I think that the demystification
You were just, I'm sorry, you were just saying, when you're talking about demystifying, there's part of it which needs to be demystified, which is really the learning process and where the mind needs to. But then there comes a time when you're on autopilot. If you've ever driven a car for the first time, each time you press that clutch and gear and you know exactly where the tree was, you remember that journey. And then comes a point, you don't even know when you've reached home. Or if you're very familiar with your city, if there's traffic here, without thinking, you're able to do it. That to me is where the mysticism of music starts, where your familiarity with the notes and gets you to make permutations, make combinations of notes. Is that what you're?
Absolutely. I think it's very important that and when we say we're demystifying something or we're doing myth busting, this is not to take away from, in the words of Leslie, I would say, the spirit of music. It is very spirited still. It
Absolutely.
still has all of the impact that the spirit brings with it. And so I think it is still powerful, and it is still mystical in those ways. And there's very little that we still understand
People
about.
a lot of times are fearful of coming close to it. They love it. That's a strange kind of relationship I find. It's almost like we can't do it, only you can, and people like me can really thrive on that. But I'll be very honest, that's not true. So this distance that gets created absolutely out of, if I can use the word, ignorance of that particular, I mean, I stand a physician and a physicist in front of me and I'd be like, you know, because that I have a block about it. So I hope that today more people will not be so, not think of it as something mysterious. It's just something to be learned and come close to. But because it plays with your emotions is where I think a lot of times people get scared of music. It has the power over your emotions. I can, he can, musicians can bring a tear to your eye without touching you. That's the magic of music. That's the power a lot of people are scared of.
So, Ayla ji, would you like to contribute on this?
एक तो अभी तक जितने भी sessions I've heard about 3 or 4 sessions over here. I couldn't come yesterday, but I can imagine कि इन्हीं strains पे चले होंगे. Creativity seems to be the buzzword in education today. कि हम अपने students में जितने भी हम बच्चे अब हमारे जो अब 10 साल में they will be they will be looking for jobs. In a few years, they will be at the helm of affairs over here. Things are changing. The work environments are changing globally at a very fast pace. Even हमारे यहाँ भी बहुत change होने वाला है. How are we equipping our children for that? अगर आप creative capacity बच्चों की हम नहीं कर पाएंगे ज़्यादा, उसका सारा issue, सारा game इसी का है. And for this, it is imperative. I think we've given enough lip service to the fact that music children should be exposed. It needs to be in our curriculum. Children should be exposed to music in a school day, not as an extracurricular activity. It has to be part of the curriculum. The schools have to come on board on that. We have to train our teachers to properly expose them to music. That's the most important thing at the moment.
Mr. Iman, you think that maybe somehow we can create some sort of a policy where, where music can be included in the school curriculum?
Definitely, and it seems to me that music should be included in the syllabus, and there are very good reasons for it. First, because it draws the children back to this community event, which is music, and which otherwise will get lost to all of those who lose the capability to appreciate music. Second, because if you, and this is education, the direction in which education is going, which is really thematic, and you study, for instance, the regions of Pakistan, then you may as well study the history, the geography, but you must also study the music. So there is an interrelation between music and all the other subjects. It's not, music cannot be either neglected entirely or, as it happens in my country, be the subject that just to be there because it has always been there and nobody fails, nobody takes it as relevant, and the music teachers have to fight with classes which have not a single piece of interest into what they're teaching. So it has to be understood that music is part of the constellation of cultural and historical and geographical elements that make us to be Pakistanis or Argentines. And so it is very important to, that the music syllabus incorporates these kind of synergies, this understanding and this capability to appreciate music. Children who are gifted musicians, they probably have classes outside the school or institutions where they can go and study. But those children who are not gifted should have a chance to learn to appreciate music, as my colleague said. This will enrich in their lives. This may be able to make them feel in a way they can not feel doing something, other things. And they may also understand that music gives them a key to a window into their own identity, which other subjects may not be able to give. So to me it's very important, and this demands, most important of all, to teach the teachers, to educate the teachers into this music appreciation capability first, to develop their own, and then to be able to transmit it to the students.
This includes music. And one of the things that music can help bridge are pathways in the brain, which again we cannot kind of expound upon in medical terms, but it does have a very, very important effect in being able to come up with new ideas and innovate. So I think it's all too important that we now stop making this whole thing about getting an A in a subject is the only thing to do. But instead, we've got to start, and I think we'll start with the teachers, yes. We've got to start getting teachers excited about the subjects that they're going to teach. And we've also got to stop treating them just as subjects that are isolated, that in a math class you're only going to do math, and then you're going to see a science laboratory only in the science class, and then you're going to see instruments only in the music room. I mean, that's just not the way it worked, and it's never going to work. In fact, I think our ancestors were smarter because they didn't have these subjects. So they were exploring things seamlessly.
टीचर ट्रेनिंग, क्योंकि अभी तक जो हमारे यहाँ म्यूज़िक की एजुकेशन होती भी है इन स्कूल्स, जब होती भी है तो इट इज़ जस्ट वेरी बेसिक के वो आते हैं, कुछ गाने होते हैं, perhaps a little bit of rhythmic exercises, which are also very important. For a certain age, up till say about 8 years of age, all children should be exposed to that. But beyond that, there has to be proper training for teachers to expose them to up to itne sare there's so many avenues that we have in front of us. We as Pakistanis, there's folk, there's classical, there's contemporary music, which we've done a lot of. Pakistan mein bahut hua hai aur bahut acha hua hai wo hai. Then there's world music. There's so much which all children should be exposed to, so that they can choose the path they want to take then thereafter. हमारे यहाँ जैसे ट्रेडिशन जो है उसके अंदर एक ये लोग कहते हैं कि उस्ताद कामिल, कि उस्ताद ऐसा चाहिए जो कामिल हो. कामिल अजीज़ सुन रहे हैं आप? उस्ताद कामिल, शागिर्द आमिल, अमल करने वाला हो, तो फिर अल्लाह शामिल. तो you need to, ये तीनों components बहुत ज़रूरी हैं. You need an ustad who actually, everybody cannot teach, even if they're good singers, they might not be good communicators, which is something you need, and you need to be creative in that communication also.
And they have YouTube now, Ayla, so
They do, yeah.
go for it.
I think I'd like to add one more thing here, which is probably my own personal agenda, but I think it's very important for us as a nation to realize that we are sitting on a gold mine in terms of a musical heritage. And I'm talking about South Asian music right now, Sangeet. And it's a shame because in the West, our music is understood as something that, in the words of one of the Beatles band members, he said was 500 years ahead of where Western music had arrived. And I think it's very important that we understand that our music needs to be taught to our people, in addition to all the other musical genres, but it should not be devoid of South Asian musical heritage.
Ivan, you wanted to contribute something.
Concerning creativity, I think a major issue today is fusion. Fusion and the misunderstandings of fusion. I mean, obviously, music is part of a culture. conceptually, culture comes from farming, really, Latin cultivare, which means to grow things. So therefore, culture is something that changes in time. But how can we think of these changes? We definitely cannot think in keeping things standing and claiming, okay, this is the traditional music of Pakistan, this is the traditional tango of Argentina. There is no such thing, because these forms, which today we take as traditional, have evolved in time. So they are not a fixed formula. So what are we going to make of the music of tomorrow? How are we going to contribute of the music of tomorrow? And this involves probably entering a dialogue with other types of music, or with some forms of music which were neglected in our own countries, incorporating new instruments from other countries maybe. And, but all this has to be done in a way in which respects the rigor and the value of your own music and the music you are incorporating. I'm not in favor, for instance, of this kind of fusion where you listen to an Argentine tango singer or a Pakistani ghazal singer sing, and this is not right. If you play the instruments, you have to also respect the rhythms of your own country, or whatever rhythm you are trying to introduce, influence you're trying to introduce. But you have to be respectful of traditions and not just be a sort of a kind of monkey who repeats what you see on TV being done by very plain rock bands or whatever.
Great. So because of the influx of questions, we're going to turn into a music show, and this is going to be a buzzer round. Now, rapid fire. I've also shuffled these cards so that in case we are asked to finish before time or right on time, to kisi ka miss now. Okay, so Mansoor Akhtar wants to ask, if anybody wants to be a musician, he's not supported from his house, how will he convince them to be a musician, because music is not liked by our elders? 1 minute.
In your particular case,
Yeah.
if music is, okay, it's a very tricky one, because I think music can be a personal experience. I don't, okay, when I started learning music, it was not with the intention that I wanted to be a singer at any point. I loved the experience of music, and I would just sit at home very nicely in my own little corner and do music. It was by chance, and really, as things developed into each other, that I came out publicly and I did a show and whatever. But I think it is still a very personal experience. So planning for it in terms of whether people like it or not, I think you can sit in your room, have a very personal experience with music, रियाज करें. आपको कौन रोकता है? मैं ज़ियाउल हक नहीं रोक सका तो, you know, I mean, nobody can stop you really. Yes, I mean, there may be a problem कि publicly your family may not like it. उधर मैं ज़ाहिरी नहीं बोलूँगी, लेकिन आप अपने आप को तो कम से कम खुश करें ना. आप बैठें, आप YouTube निकालें, आपको जो मिलता है, मैं ये कहती हूँ कि जो भी मिलता है, ये बहाना, वो जो याद है कि वो 9 मन तेल होगा ना राधा नाचेगी, ये बहाने, मतलब I've downloaded Tanpura and Tabla on my phone. When you reach out, तो आपको actually आधा वक्त आपको पता लगेगा कि आपको किसी ने नहीं रोका था, आप खुद रुके थे.
That's true actually, because my own family wasn't supportive of my musical ambitions, and I think after reaching to whatever level that I reached, I think it was just 2 years ago that my dad finally admitted that you're doing something with your life, and now they're proud of it. And
किसी
I
ने बड़ी
mean,
अच्छी बात बोली थी ना कि you're so free, you can choose bondage. Think about it. तो अपने आप को बाहर वाले के उसने वो क्या कहेगा, ये क्या कहेगा, आप जितना हैंडल कर सकते हैं विद इन योर सेल्फ वो तो शुरू करें यार, प्रयास शुरू करें.
Okay, Mr. Iman, I would like to ask you what steps must be taken to promote new talent like me/youth in music, and how to get maximum output in academic performance by inculcating music with studies.
It seems to me that if you teach music, you should transmit to your students that music is something that changes, that this music has its roots, but it changes, and therefore you should encourage your students within a certain framework to try to as hard as possible, to introduce something new, something personal. This something personal may not be completely new, because it may be something that occurs to them because they listened to it to somebody else. If he was a singer, he may have listened to Patana Khan singing something, and then he just introduces it. And but he may feel as it is, it has become part of his own self. This is one thing. On the other hand, from the point of view of the state, it is important that the state finances musical activities and young people who are trying to start a life in music. And share the music with their own communities. It is important that the state encourages communities to get together around musical events, or events in which music and dance and literature are brought together.
Ailaji, we'll have to do this very quickly. This one will please you, Mr. Yusuf. How do you see the future of classical music in Pakistan outside of Coke Studio? And another question is, do you think commercialization and corporate sponsorship kill creativity and innovation in music?
This is a tough one. It has to be said, Puritans do argue कि हाँ, मेरा कहना ये है कि commercialization, by the end of the day, I want the artist to survive. And under the conditions that are prevalent right now, and I'm hoping they're improving. I am hoping that they are improving. Classical music has been under a bit of a shadow in the past 2 decades, the past, और patronage कम है. अब उस केस में we look for corporate sponsorship. There's no other way to go. That's the only way to survive. I'm hoping that the artists understand the sacredness of what they're doing, of their art, and they would not let go of it. They can choose different ways to make ends meet. They will do that, and they will need to do that to survive. But as long as it's there, I have no problems with that.
Great. So the last question of our panel discussion today: if music matters and it has the power to unite people, then why, in 70 years of enjoying shared music, has not united Pakistan and India? Yusuf.
Because geographically, our music is different. I mean, the land that Ivan just said, the land that we live on, Pakistan, has its own Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, इसकी अपनी एक roots हैं, और हिंदुस्तान की music की अपनी एक roots हैं. अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि North Indian classical music यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं है, ये बड़ी लंबी बात है, लेकिन सब घराने जो हैं वो middle हिंदुस्तान में रह गए थे, जितने
I just like to.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem with that question. It's because it's assuming that music has not played a role already, and in fact it has. And there were many, in India, uh, local people, they listen to the music coming out of Pakistan. Uh, I went to this Indian restaurant in Germany, and the waiter found out we were from Pakistan, and he said, "Oh, Marina Khan, Tanhaiya," and he was talking about all the music that they hear from PTV. And so there has always been a yearning to hear from the other side. Today, the cinema halls are literally empty if you don't have an Indian movie playing in it. So, I mean, I think let's not confuse political boundaries with in fact, musicians have had a big impact. Aman Ki Asha, which was started, there were Pakistani icons of today have been created by India, let's admit it. So, in fact, we owe them a big service. Rahat Fateh Ali Khan, Shafqat Amanat Ali, all of them, their fame skyrocketed once they sang in India.
So that's the end of our panel discussion. I'm sorry we couldn't entertain all of the questions, but if you have any, if you want to ask them directly after the session, you're more than welcome to. We're going to conclude this session with Tina Ji's beautiful singing. Tina Ji, what are you going to sing?
So let me sing you something from this land. आपको पता है कि थरपारकर कहाँ है? वहाँ पे there's a song that I sang long time back, जिसके उस वक्त मुझे भी मतलब नहीं पता थे. I'll be so honest. जब वो पहली दफ़ा टेलीविज़न पे चला तो वो कराची से लेके पेशावर तक इतना मशहूर हुआ कि हम सब हैरान हो गए. ना लोगों को ज़बान पता थी, ना उनको ये पता था इसका क्या मतलब है. सो ये सिर्फ आई थिंक इस चीज़ को प्रूव करता है कि क्या ये इसको समझने, ये आप समझें ये क्यों होता है. यहाँ इस जवाब मेरे पास नहीं है इसका. खड़ी नीम के नीचे हूँ था एकली, खड़ी नीम के नीचे हूँ था एकली, जात रो बटारो मना, छानी मानी देख ले. झिर मेरे मेवला बरसे, मोर पपीहरा गाए, सास जिठारो छेल बमरियो मासा डरियो जाए. हो थाना पूछा छेल बवरिया हेकली, जात रो बटारो माना, छानी मानी देख ले.
That's it for today. Thank you.